There are some people who don't just talk about change, they embody it. Angel Jafria is one of them. She's an actress, activist, and bionic trailblazer who shattered every old school idea about disability, particularly disability in film. You might have seen her in the Hunger Games or on stage at SXSW, but what's most powerful is what she does off screen, using her voice to show that being different isn't something to hide, it's something to own. For me, Angel's been one of those proper role models for me growing up, and I just love to see bionic baddies on the screen. And now, in honour of Limb Difference Awareness Month, she started her very own series, Disability Roll Call, where she spotlights incredible disabled actors and calls out some shocking realities of inclusivity in media. Hey everyone, welcome to Tilly Talks Tech. My name is Tilly, I am your host. On this podcast, we talk about all things, well, this month, all things Limb Difference Awareness Month, or Limb Difference Spotlighting, but we're also all about human potential, technology, innovation, the rest of it. Yeah, like I said, this month we are spotlighting limb different individuals, and this girl, I feel like we're best friends already. Like, she knows me, I know her, but we've never actually linked, which blows my mind. She's an actress, an activist, a consultant, making sure everything is done right in the film industry. I freaking love it. Please welcome to the podcast, Angel Jafria. Hi Angel, welcome to Tilly Talks Tech. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. You've been one of those names that we've been thinking about since this podcast began, which was 6 months ago now. Your name has come up on this podcast before you've even been on it. That's how influential you are within the limb different community. For people who don't know what it is that you do, what are you passionate about? What are you all about?
Well, first and foremost, right now, I describe myself as an actor. That's what I do predominantly. But I mean, I'm also a limb difference advocate. I'm a consultant, prosthetics enthusiast. I've been wearing a prosthesis since I was 6 weeks old. So I started wearing my first
6
myoelectric.
weeks?
Yeah, I got my first passive device at 6 weeks, my first myoelectric at 4 months. So I've been doing the whole thing for my whole life. I was charging, my arm before everybody was charging their phones. And that kind of led me down this path of being super interested in tech and super interested in how I can customize and how I can make my hand my own, and that idea of who am I and all the different people that you could be as a limb different person. So I think that's when I started getting into acting and having that idea of I could be all of these different people with a prosthesis, or with the limb difference in general, even without a prosthesis. Consulting is something else I do, which I really enjoy. I've worked for a lot of video games and TV shows and films and tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and Cyberpunk and
So
Guild Wars.
cool.
Yeah, so I've gotten to do a lot of consulting, a wide variety of things, but acting
Yeah.
is, the main goal.
You know what? That's actually so good as well, though, that people are consulting about that stuff now because you are the expert in that field, and it's the stuff that happens behind the scenes, in the process of making a project that makes it so authentic and really represent that community. So I feel like we all have you to thank for these pulling those strings behind the scenes, When it comes to acting, because that is the main thing that you say that you love and you do, and you've got your brand new series Disability Roll Call, which is all about spotlighting disabled actresses and actors as well. When it came to acting, is that something you always knew that you wanted to do when you were younger, or was it something that you thought I want to do, but I'm not sure how my limb difference is going to hold me back, maybe?
I think being born with a limb difference, and I don't know if you feel this way too, just having your limb difference most of your life,
Yeah.
you kind of are put in a position to perform, right? Everybody's going to look at you. They're already looking at us, and you kind of can take one or two routes. Either you can try to blend in, or you're accept that you're going to stand out. And I think I kind of took the accept that I'm going to stand out, and I loved it. But yeah, it was one of those things that I always was really interested in, but I never saw it as a career. As I'm sure you're familiar with, there just wasn't anyone else who looked like us. And if they did, it was sad, or it was a plot point. It was scary. It was Captain Hook. It was, The Fugitive. The scary bad guy. There really wasn't any type of good representation of me being yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. No, I get you.
So the first time that I started out, all the old ones were fleshy colored, right? That's just what existed. That's just what they offered us. There wasn't the option to look different or be cool, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of was one of those things where I was waiting for that to happen. And the first myoelectric prosthesis that came out that was multi-articulating. I immediately got it. I was like, I love this. This is so cool. It was massive. I looked like I was wearing like a boxing glove. Like I was like, I don't care, I want it. And then I was like wearing it. Was like, oh my gosh, like can't lift my hands above my head, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't like how it looked. So I switched over to wearing this like cosmetic prosthesis at the time, no function. So like straight mannequin hand. Because they told me that the small was coming out. They were like, oh yeah, the small is coming. Meanwhile, like 6 years later, I wore this fleshy colored arm and I would be on set and I would just pretend to have two hands because I knew that they weren't there. They didn't want me there to stand out, right? I wasn't booked as an actor. I was booked as an extra. And I knew that I would, or I felt that I would like pull attention if I was a limb different person, or they wouldn't have cast me. And I had an experience on the set of this film called The Green Lantern. I worked on it and I was supposed to be a student in class. And the day of shooting, someone like a PA came in the room, round up like 7 girls and like brought us into a different room. We're like, what's going on? I'd maybe done like extra work a handful of other times before this. And then someone else, like a second AD, second assistant director came in, picked like 4 of us. We waited in another room. We're like, what are we doing? And then the director comes in, looks us up and down, and then just says her and walks out. Me. And I was like, what am I doing? And then they rushed me away to like hair and makeup, change my clothes. It was still an extra role, but it was a very featured extra role. I was actually featured more in this than I have been in some of my principal roles.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember going like so excited, couldn't wait to do it. And then I looked down and I was like, I have one arm. He doesn't know. Because at the time I had a long sleeve shirt on and they were changing me into something different. Yeah. So I went to the production assistant. I was like, hey, I need to talk to the director, which is an absurd thing for an extra to say. And he was like, yeah, okay. So I was like, I have one arm. And then he was like, I'll be right back. Like,
oh my goodness.
The director was Martin Campbell. He's this guy from New Zealand. He did like Casino Royale and GoldenEye and all these big films. And he came in the room and I was like freaking out, right? So I'm doing like talking like that. I was like, I want to be an actor my whole life and I understand how this works. And I really think I can do a good job. But like, I totally understand if you want to pick somebody else because like maybe I'll be distracting or, you know, maybe I won't be able to open the door the right way because I've like run down this hall, swing open the door, run in late for class. The teacher had to call me out for being late, all these things. And he's just like staring at me like, and I realized he has no idea what I'm talking about. I was like, I have one arm. And he was like, okay. Have you ever been late for class before? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, then I don't see why you couldn't have one arm and be late for class, which I knew, right? Which I knew, but like we never had like a director or somebody who was like big kind of like put that in my head. And I did the scene and it went really well. He would try to toss me a line, Tilly, and I was so like new and green that I didn't understand. He like pulled me aside and he was like, Angel, if you were late for class, would you say anything to your teacher? And I was like actor mode and I was like, no, I would try to like sneak in as quiet as possible and like not say anything. And then later on I was like, he was trying to give me a line. Like,
no, man. God damn it.
I know, right? Messed that one up. It took me like 4 more years to get my first line. Because like after that, I went and got an agent and kind of just really started putting time and effort into it. Because I actually was like reminded that there were people out there who got it. And like a lot of people don't, but there are people who do. And we just have to find those people.
Yeah. I bet that was like genuinely such a stressful moment when they're changing you and you're about to do this scene. Like that's why you can't hide this thing about you anymore. And like I really like I'm empathetic about that feeling of like, wait, they're gonna find out I'm missing a limb and they're gonna drop me. The fact that was like your first thought to be like they're gonna pick another one of these girls for that role because you've never seen that and never been like treated as kind of an equal in that sense. It's like outrageous, and I'm so glad the end of that story was him being like, so the frick what, because I was really scared you were gonna be like, and he said get out, and that like started my villain arc. And I would respect that, not from him, but I'd respect you for your villain arc too. But like, thank God.
I have so many other stories that could lead to a villain arc, but somehow I've stayed towards the light at this point.
had Gracie and Ashley on, where Ashley's done all sorts of course. She's a queen. Like she was in Barbie, which was super fun, but she's done like zombie roles too. I'm gonna ask you about that typecast. And yeah, I guess I was just wondering a little bit of like your experience in those settings and
Mhm.
how that made you feel as somebody who wants to do more in acting.
Right. I mean, it's been one of those things which I heard like Gracie talk about it and like some of the other people about like how the like newer roles that are coming out are so much more well-rounded and like people that just exist. I mean, the amount of like veterans I've gone out for, or people in the hospital, or someone who is currently injured. I've played zombies, like just the gamut of what people think that an amputee should play, like, or someone with a limb
Yeah.
difference. And that's always been like
Yeah.
super frustrating, but at the same time, like I'm an actor and I need to make a living, and like thank you
Right.
so much for the job and the opportunity to play. Like I don't mind playing a veteran, but like to play only a veteran is really frustrating because that's people take their ideas from media, right? So if
Yeah.
they only see veterans in the amputees on TV that are like limb different, like or that are there, then people come to me all the time and they're like, "Are you a veteran?" I'm like, "What about me gave veteran besides my arm?" Like,
Be for real, guys.
like, is there something about me? Like, definitely can't ever wear camo. If I wear olive green, it's over. It's over. So, like, thank you for your service. So I'm like, seeing Gracie's role in like Autumn and a lot of doing disability roll call, like you said, like the
Yeah.
series that I started. I think the whole point for me was that when we get pushback, I'm on the SAG-AFTRA Performers with Disabilities Committee, so like the union here in the States for actors. When we get pushback, a lot of times, like they're like, "Oh, we cast this non-disabled actor for this part," and most of the time we'll know if they looked or not, right? We'll know, we'll have the breakdowns. I would have gotten it from my agent if it's a limb different character, or my friends who are wheelchair users. Like we would know.
Yeah.
um and they'll be like, "Oh, we looked." We're like, "Well, for one, you didn't look." And they're like, "Oh, well, we just couldn't find anyone that was as good as we wanted them to be." Or like you'll see pushback from the public. I know, right? You'll see pushback from the public where well, maybe there wasn't somebody who could like do that role because like they have CP and like CP is really hard to have, and they couldn't do that role. And it's like, well, I don't know, they didn't look. So a lot of times casting directors will say they can't find the people. So I just got tired of it. I got tired of that pushback online because it's like it was the general population kind of just saying, well, maybe they're not there. And it's like, well, you should know that they are. And you know what? It's
Yeah.
their job to look. So if I'm just gonna like, I honestly kind of don't care like if the series like pops off. Like the point is like I want it to be that there's like you can come here and see like all of these people have existed. They are trained, they are working actors, they
Yeah.
work in film and television and commercials. Like the people are been working, they know how to do their job, and you didn't even ask them to audition. So like time's up, like it's over. Like you guys don't get to make these excuses anymore about why you're not at least auditioning people. Obviously I can't really defeat the argument when they say like, "Oh, we picked a better person for the role," whatever, that's subjective. But at the very least, like you can pretend to do your job.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that's a really good insight from you guys and your community, just to like make people aware, like, no, this community weren't approached for the role. Do you know what I mean? Because only you guys can say that. You're who we're hoping they approach with the roles. And for that community to be like, we didn't hear niche about this, is
Yeah.
like, okay, explain that one. Like,
One of the things that I want to talk about coming up is did you play The Last of Us, the game The Last of Us?
not fully, but I've played bits.
So in the second one, spoiler, obviously they started the second season in the second season, but this part of the game they didn't get to. There is a limb different character. The character loses her arm within, I don't know, the first 5 minutes she's on screen. Like she is an amputee the whole time throughout the rest of
Mhm.
the game. And guess what? They didn't cast a limb different person or an amputee for the role. Now, obviously, I don't know how far back in the history they're going to go. Like maybe they're going to have this character have quite more of an arc than the game does and show a lot more of her history. Sure. But like when they talk about like, okay, well, we'll just CGI out her arm the rest of the time. Like you also could have hidden her arm in the beginning or CGI'd in an arm. When they act like that's harder, it's not. It's just a different skill set.
Yeah.
get better, get better at doing your job. If you're saying like that's hard, it's like you're more familiar with doing the other thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, and it's like there's minimal characters who have a limb difference, you know? Like, I feel like as a limb different person, if I was in the position where I was like, man, I really want to be an actor or an actress, but like I don't feel like this is like this industry is for me basically because of all these reasons people come up with of why like limb different people, disabled people don't make sense in that industry. If I knew there was like a show coming out with a limb different character, I'd be like, you know, like this is my time to shine. Let's go. And I guess it's just so disappointing to then, you know, have that specific role go to somebody who could do any other role because we do get singled out.
But at the same time, we need writers to write these roles for disabled people because unfortunately there's really not that many casting directors that will call in disabled actors for roles that don't specifically say disabled.
Yeah.
Like there's a casting director named Erica Bream who's in the Southeast who I absolutely love, and I've done a lot of classes with her. And without having auditioned for several disability specific roles for her, like I don't know if she would have gotten to know me as an actor and like my skills, because she
Yeah.
just brings me in for anything now. Like if she thinks that like Angel can play the woman in the record store, or Angel can play, you know, this cashier, barista, whatever, she'll bring me in for it. I think a lot of the casting directors are like, well, I'm not going to bring them something they didn't ask for, a disabled person. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, like they couldn't play the girlfriend, the mom, the whatever. Like,
Yeah,
so
like we don't do all these things in real life anyway as disabled people.
right, but for some reason there's like this like cog that doesn't click, like, oh, why couldn't she? Which is the reason that like when we're in the grocery store and we're just like buying milk or something and someone comes up, they're like, wow, it's so great that you're out. And it's like, why do you think that I wouldn't be? And it's because
What are we supposed to do?
we don't exist in media doing those things. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't show us just having a normal life. They only show us when we're at the hospital or sad or depressed or like that kind of stuff, or like going through it, whatever it is, you know? And like it's
No,
frustrating.
yeah, it's so frustrating that you actually it makes you hysterical. It's like, dude, like we're not like aliens, dude. We're literally like every other human. Like we do the grocery shop, we have kids, we take them to school, like we
Do you
eat.
ever get the
Like
"you're so brave" comment? The "you're so brave" blows my mind. Like, yeah, you too. I love to say that back, but they're like, wow, it's really great that you're out. And I'm like, you too. And I just like keep walking.
with disability roll call, love that you're bringing attention to this cause. Is there anything in your research that you found like, or just your experience as an actress that you found just like legit shocking? Like if people knew this, they would get their act together.
I mean, that's a good question. The amount of actors who didn't get to audition, or it was like almost given as an excuse for why they couldn't audition for a project because it was up a flight of stairs. Like literally, there are people that I know that are wheelchair users and like friends of mine who had to audition in like alleyways, or like someone offered to come downstairs and like carry their wheelchair up the stairs, which like, one, I don't know you, stranger, who's now carrying my entire body, and like, you know what I mean? Like that's scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't want someone to do that to me. So like finding out all these stories of people who had like bad experiences, you know, but obviously there are plenty of good experiences, and like I've really gotten to highlight a lot of people like Gracie, like Autumn, who had there's someone coming, Zyra, who have had really great experiences, but it's truly because of the writers. I know we say all day like I would love to be included for roles that have nothing to do with my arm, but unfortunately when we do go out for those roles, they almost forget that we are disabled, which like people are like, great. And I'm like, no, but I still have one arm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no matter, like I still do, and it's still going to have to be a consideration when you're planning things. And it's like some of the time I'm like, oh, I can do everything that everyone can, unless they have a very specific vision of what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I recently worked on a show, deciding how much of this I want to say. I recently worked on a show and I was booked not because of my arm, was not in the breakdown, was not in anything, which is cool, right? Great, wonderful. Director knew, everybody knew. On set, there was something that wasn't in the script, but the director decided for their vision of what they wanted to accomplish. Everything was placed. We've been placed for hours at this point that they couldn't undo all of these things, right? Cameras, people, extras, stunts, whatever. And when they realized that I couldn't do the thing that no one had brought up, it was very uncomfortable, very awkward. No one knew how to address it. And in the amount of time that they have, because sets move fast, I then kind of lost my part because they were like, oh, we can't make this work. And then they just changed it. And I was like,
Damn.
oh, that sucks. And everyone's
That's
like, well, you still got paid, right? I'm like, well, that's not the point. You know, like, sure, great, I got paid. But the frustration and the embarrassment, truthfully, like, it was in front of everyone, like a lot of people.
yeah.
I was just like, this sucks. And I'm obviously not the only one to have this experience, you know? So I am really thankful for the writers who are considerate and for the sets who are considerate in the sense of being like, we have to remember how, when they bring on consultants like me, like we have to remember that their bodies move differently, exist differently, things are different.
Yeah.
And, you know, those things need to be acknowledged, making sure that the show or the movie or the writers or the production team is on board. And like that's the important part, is like we just need people like above the line, as they were say, to like want to make this happen.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. And I always go back to like the fact that if every single person like had the same disability, like if everybody woke up limb different tomorrow, or if everybody woke up in a wheelchair tomorrow, they'd figure it out so quick. Like they'd make sure the adaptations were made. It's just genuinely because it's a minority, and
Mm-hmm.
it's only until somebody tragically like gets into an accident and they end up losing all four limbs or end up in a wheelchair, they're like, wait, this world is terrible for people with disabilities. Like,
Yeah.
and it's easy stuff like lowering the curb, like you say, the buildings where you had to do an audition in a side alley because there's no lift in the building. Like that should be mandatory. It probably is
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. I don't know. Like it's ridiculous, you know. So it's so good, the people who like get together and really really talk about it. I love that. And the limb different community especially, like get together, so good. Like it's just such a privilege to watch everybody bloom, you know. And the way we all like charge each other up when we're together, I feel like a big event where that happens, which you've mentioned a couple times, I haven't been to yet. I'm dying to go.
You
Lucky
have
Fin
to.
Project weekends, like you ever hear of Rugged now, right?
Yes. Yes.
And didn't you take that to the Lucky Fin Project land and it was like bright orange
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything like that?
I have my orange covers in the other room, but yeah, the kids loved it. I had this one. I always let everybody put on my arms. I don't know,
I
because
do that
yeah,
too.
like especially with the little kids, because like their limbs fit in my arms. So like I
Yeah.
usually just show up, and I remember I used to just like walk around and talk to people. And then I realized so many parents specifically have questions about prosthetics and things like that, that eventually I just kind of took over a table, dumped out my bag, and was like, here are all my arms. Here's
Hmm.
every hand I have, here's every socket I have, here's my activity arm, here are my activity attachments, here's all my covers, because I just wanted to show them the range of things that exist. Obviously, as you know, like the younger you are, the harder it is to find
Yeah.
devices outside of like a very specific window. It's one of those things where I was like, okay, so when I had my covers, there's this one photo of this little boy that Lucky Finn had been posting this year, and he was so excited to try it. And I was like, yeah, so what I'll usually do is I'm like, okay, now put your little arm and kind of touch against each side of the sensors. And then immediately, like he was able to like make my rugged hand movement. Like, well, obviously he wanted my hand. Like, you know, he's like, can I
Yeah.
have it kind of thing. And it does get hard because then you kind of have to tell the parents, like, well, these options technically in this form, right? There's no rugged for someone who's 5. But
Tiny, yeah.
yeah, I was like, there are, you know, they do have a multi-articulating hand that, you know, he could be interested in, and it is cool looking, and kind of like was able to show him the covers and some of the different options and the ability to switch with the activity devices, which I'm obsessed with. I don't know how often you use, but like I'll go to the gym, like hand on. And honestly, I'm being honest, because this one's waterproof, I work out with this hand all the time. It's actually
Yeah.
like Like I used to not because of how corrosive sweat is on some electrodes, but like I haven't had any issues with this. So like I've been wearing this hand to kickboxing like most of the time.
I'm not much of a gym girl at all. The
Yeah.
podcast know this. I was testing out our terminal devices at the gym the other day, and I was like, but goddamn, I quite like the way the hand moves. Like I was lifting weights with like this Hero Pro hand, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it is really cool. Like I love all the different attachments, but like you're so right. The fact that it's I just love how customizable it is. Like you can pick to use the hand or you can use terminal devices because obviously everybody's different in how they
Mhm.
want to use and operate their hands. And then beyond that, you can pick which color you want, and you can have like a orange hand at Lucky Fin weekend.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I think it is incredibly important to go to somebody, a company, you know, a prosthetist that specializes in doing upper limb because it is such a specialized field. I mean, if you
Mm,
think of like in the last 20 years, like how much the arms changed and how many different options. Like when it used to just be that like there was body powered hooks and like
yeah,
maybe a single articulation myo,
yeah,
right? Myoelectric. Like,
yeah,
okay, two options. Now there are so many options and they still, I don't know if you know this, but in O&P school in the US, they only have one semester of upper limb. That's it. So it's 2 years, right? So 4 semesters total, but only one of those is upper limb, which may have worked in the, when there was only like two options, but
yeah,
so many options. That's wild. Like there's no world
yeah,
where they're ever going to like understand all this. Like the tech has just changed so fast that you have to continue to do education about it or you have to specialize. And I tell a
yeah,
lot of people who want to wear prosthetics that like prosthetic devices, if they're new parents, I'm like, you need to go to a specialist. You need to
yeah,
either go to someone, I mean, in the US, obviously it's different,
yeah,
but you need to go to somebody who said, or at least very least ask them how many arms they fit a year. Like,
mm,
and how many people
yeah,
they fit with a similar presentation to you. Like, obviously, we're like transradial, right? So, like, we're the
yeah,
most common presentation, the below elbow, right? But like,
yeah,
the longer you are, it changes. The shorter you are, it changes. As soon as you lose that elbow, big change. Like
yeah, massive.
digits, which I'm so excited that Open Bionics came out with their digits. Like the digits are so cool. And I think that's so incredibly important. That would be something that I talk to parents a lot about at Lucky Fin Weekend. They're always like, what are our digit options? What are our finger options? How young and like what kind of level of amputation they have can have to be able to wear that, because it's so
Yeah,
important. There were just so few options for so specific presentations that it just reduced down the field of like who got to do this. And like
yeah,
I got to, and I felt lucky. Like
yeah,
obviously I,
same.
yeah, right. Like we know we're outside of the norm. Our
Mm-hmm.
stories are not what most people's are, right? Like most
Yeah,
people were not able to get prosthetics as soon after their amputation, or as young as I was, or had difficulty figuring things out, or didn't have a team to work so closely with them if things were going wrong. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because they're never going to be perfect in the beginning, and that's so
exactly.
frustrating.
Yeah,
Especially you
no,
working with new
for
tech.
sure.
I know that you're familiar with that too, right? Anytime you work with new tech and you're like when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't, it's that much
Yeah.
more annoying.
No, it's like genuinely, I consider myself so lucky. Like even from the point of like when they were gonna amputate my hands, like it was like, they were asking my, I mean, I was one, I couldn't speak, but like,
I was gonna say, do you remember?
no,
Kind of? No, okay.
no. So it's like for me, I feel like I was born this way. Like genuinely, I look
Right.
at myself pre-op and I'm like, is that the same girl? Like I
Mhm.
really, I describe it like it was in third person. But like they were asking my family, like, oh, do you think she'll be interested in prosthetics in the future? And the fact that they even asked that question, like nobody gets asked that question. Like, yeah, it's so important. And I feel like events where we can all get together and like we've been through it and we can like share that advice and that feedback and let families know what's out there is like so important. And I think representation in media and film and that it's not just the sci-fi bionic arms, but I mean like they're not just fiction anymore, like they are in real life, like, and when you're there wearing them in some like sci-fi feature film or whatever, and people might look at that and think, oh, that's a cool like sci-fi element. Like, no, it's real, and like real amputees can wear this stuff.
Mhm.
So it's so important. And I'm so happy we got you on for the end of Limb Difference Awareness Month. And I'm so excited for all the Lucky Film Project content that's gonna be coming up. I just want to know for anybody who is limb different, what do you want them to sort of like take away from your content, and what message do you have for that community?
Honestly, I think community is the biggest part. I don't think I didn't know what I didn't know, right? Like you think you're like, oh, I have all the friends, you know, these it's great that I have all these friends. They don't need to be limb different until I made other disabled friends, other limb different friends. Thinking of yourself as other is really hard. Like, right, if you can like go, oh, okay, then I blend in, I'm with everybody. And then as soon as you realize you're like, oh, I am different. And that's
Yeah.
fine. Like that's there's nothing wrong with that. And it turns out there's all these other people that actually understand exactly, you know, what that's like. And I
Mm-hmm.
think reaching out and finding community was something that I couldn't imagine my life without now. Like having these people, like I know like I sound like I'm like, no, Lucky Finn is like my favorite time of year. Like it is. It absolutely is. Like when I did
Mm-hmm.
Amputee Coalition Youth Camp, like one of my favorite times of the year, like just being around all of these other people, I think is incredibly important. And I think it also shows the depth of the community when we talk about representation. So like I know what I'm capable of, but then like when you see other people doing things, right? Like even me like going like, oh, well, how would someone be a nurse with a limb difference? Well, I've met a couple of them now. You know, how would
Yeah.
someone be a doctor with limb? Oh, I've met them now. And it's like the more you know, the more you can counteract stereotypes within the population when people are like bringing up things. You're like, well, I know one, you know, like
Yeah.
classical pianist, like I know one. Like there's just like these kinds of things that people assume like, oh, you probably can't do this. And it's like, oh, well, maybe I can't because I didn't train and try and work hard and I don't care about it.
Mm.
But there are people who did and do care. And I think having a community around you that is limb different, is disabled, is like you really helps open the eyes of everyone, knowing now what you know that you didn't know before.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel like there's like somebody in every field. That's where I go. Like when I think of myself cooking, like no way people could do this. And then there's like full on chefs with like no hands. And I'm like,
Me with
girl.
hair and makeup, I never learned. I'm not good. And like, I hate it when I'm like talking because I get my hair and makeup done for events. And like, all my friends are like, why don't you just do it? I'm like, because if I did it, I would be like, red carpet flash would go off and it'd be like powder and like hair all out of place. It's just like, I'm not that girly, you know? And
Yeah.
when I say that to people, I'll be like, oh, I'm not good at hair. They're like, oh, well, I get that. And I'm like, what? Why do you get that?
Just like
What
put
do
it down to your hand.
because they immediately assume that it's because I
Mm-hmm.
have one hand. I'm like, well, I actually know. You want me to show you the Instagram of this one-handed stylist? I actually know two one-handed hairstylists and makeup artists and people who get paid for this,
Yeah.
and that this is their job, and they own salons or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but like I'm like open your community for the clap back if anything. You're like now I know
Legit.
everyone. So if you want to say anything, here's their Instagram. Follow them. Yeah, like I just it's one of those things where it's like these are all of our people, and I know that
Yeah.
sometimes it feels very lonely. I think with Disability Roll Call, a lot of people started saying like, "Why are you highlighting other actors? Aren't you trying to get work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like, but like, I was rising tides raises all ships. Like, the whole point is we're all trying to get hired." And
Yeah.
I think it's important that like they see the world of us, not just me. I'm not like I'm just one person. And as soon as they
Yeah.
start opening doors for more people, obviously they'll open doors for me too at some point. But like the
Yeah.
cause is important. And if we're not down for the cause, like what are we doing?
Of course. And what would it be like if instead of that we were doing the opposite, we were like tearing other limb different actors, disabled actors down? Like
Yeah.
who wins?
Yeah. Who
Nobody.
wins?
That's
Yeah.
so
That's
dumb.
who wins at that point. You're like, why would I do that? You
Seriously.
know?
Oh my God, Angel, it's been so nice chatting to you. I am like so gassed that I got to like finally meet you and like really dive deep. I feel like we have like so much in common, and I definitely want to like meet you in person one day at one of these events, maybe do a live podcast episode. We'll get you in the studio, something that would be super, super
I'll go to
fun.
Bristol, you come to LA, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, like planning on it soon, so I will keep you in the loop for sure. Where can we follow you on socials, girl? What's your handle?
just type in my name, Angel Jafria, and I should come up. I always joke with everyone because my username is something I did a long time ago. And then when they
It's
did
like
the
Angel.
girl, I did they once they verified me, like, you know, the old school way. If I go to
Yeah.
change it now, they're like, you'll lose your verification. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, well,
That's so cool, the old school way, because you can just pay for it now. Like, you're legit. You got verified. Keep it. Keep it. Thank you so much, Angel. This has been so fun. And yeah, I can't wait to see you next time.
bye.
Bye. That was so fab. I'm gonna be so real. Like, the sun has like legit set because we've been talking for another hour. But yeah, such an important cause. Some real insights there into like what it's like in the film industry with a disability. The fact that people aren't getting approached for roles is kind of crazy. Like, obviously, best person for the role, and yeah, whoever should do it should get the job. But the fact that, I don't know, I feel like you should be auditioning the people who can really bring that like authenticity to the role. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tilly Talks Tech. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, share, check out Angel. You can follow us on socials too. This marks the end of our Limb Difference Awareness Month spotlighting. It has been a joy. Seriously, I'm actually so sad April's coming to an end, but I hope you've learned about some incredible individuals with limb differences who are really pushing the limits. They're killing it. I'm so happy genuinely to be a part of such an amazing, creative, innovative, incredible community. I'm going to stop now before I start crying into my microphone. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and I will see you all next time.